I'd like to call the Lake Forest City Council meeting of July 17, 2012 to order. And I'd like to apologize to the audience for us being a little tardy, has a little extended business. First of all, City Attorney, do you have anything to report to us from closed session?
Mayor and Council, we have a report not from tonight, but from previous closed session. The City Council annually is required to evaluate the city manager and to consider whether to award an annual bonus to the manager. 2 meetings ago, the Council, or excuse me, your last meeting in closed session, the Council voted unanimously on that bonus, and an administrative instruction is ready for the mayor's signature to execute that action. And so as soon as that happens, that bonus will be a matter of public record.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Mayor Pro Tem Scott Voigt to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Would you join me, please, and stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, seeing we have no presentation, I'm going to move right into public comments. At this time, the public has the ability to address the City Council. We'd like to remind you that we cannot comment on whatever you addressed us on, and these are things that are not on the agenda item. By state law, we're not able to comment. Do not think that we're not interested in what you say. We do hear it, and our staff do take notes. When you come up to the podium, you have, there's a little box. When you state your name and your city, you do not have to state your address. Please do not. You'll see a green light will come on when you begin to speak. You have 3 minutes. When the yellow light comes on, it's letting you know you only have 1 minute left. When the red light comes on, please cease and put the rest of what you need to say. You're free to put it in writing and give it to Deborah Rose. Would you please raise your hand? Thank you. And give it to Deborah Rose. Someone will get back to you concerning it. Do we have any requests to speak?
We do, Your Honor. First speaker is Ruth Kim, followed by Ian Morrell.
Pull it down to you like this is
Sure. My name is Ruth Kim. I'm a 24-year resident of the City of Lake Forest. I'm here to express my support for the El Toro Lighting and Bleacher Improvement Project proposed for the El Toro High School campus. The proposed improvements will benefit the student body and entire community and will remedy El Toro's persistent disadvantage of inadequate athletics facilities. Our school district originally provided for the high schools to share home, game, and practice facilities, as is the case in neighboring districts of Irvine and Orange, where a single shared stadium serves all schools fairly. But in reality, this no longer exists in the Saddleback District. Mission Viejo, Trabuco Hills, and Laguna Hills all have their own on-site stadiums. El Toro's agreement of shared facilities with Trabuco Hills has become contentious, expensive, and logistically impractical. Instead of sharing, Trabuco Hills begrudgingly allows us to use their stadium on a limited basis. The lack of adequate athletics fields at El Toro represents an ongoing opportunity cost for all programs using these facilities, calculated by loss of ticket sales, concessions, community sponsorships, competition, and tournament fees. I speak from the point of view of a marching band parent volunteer always looking for ways to raise funds. For example, Mission Viejo and Trabuco Hills both have large marching band and color guards that have maintained their size and dominance over time. Each of these schools host an annual band competition in their home stadiums, bringing in thousands of dollars used to support their music programs. El Toro's marching band is unable to host a similar competition due to our lack of facilities and thus loses out on lucrative fundraising events. Besides individual program opportunity costs, El Toro and the City of Lake Forest will suffer long-term negative impacts due to our lack of adequate facilities. The quality of local schools is a key factor in attracting developers, businesses, and families to our city. I'm a parent of a current El Toro student and a 2011 graduate who now attends Yale University. Academics are very important to me. However, they are not the only thing that defines an outstanding high school. The school choice option within our district impacts the quality of students and families that El Toro is able to attract and retain. Families deciding where to send their students compare school academics, athletics, and facilities, and many of my neighbors are beginning to choose other high schools. We are losing active families who volunteer time and contribute resources to other high schools and cities, leading to inevitable decline of El Toro. The ongoing success of El Toro depends on the improvement of the lighting and bleachers at our athletic field, and I urge the City of Lake Forest to support it in order to provide equal access to adequate facilities for our current students and overall community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ian Morrell, followed by Jeff Frum.
My name is Ian Morrell, and I'm a resident of Lake Forest. I'm here to speak also to support the El Toro High School Bleacher and Lighting Improvement Project. I realize that it isn't within your jurisdiction, but I feel as leaders it's important for you to know how important this is to our community. According to a report, Do School Facilities Affect Education Outcomes by the Tennessee Advisory Commission, buildings, settings, and environments are accorded symbolic value by those who use them as well as by those who do not. A school may symbolize opportunity, hope, stability, and a safe haven in a world of insecurity and transience. It is this interaction of individual characteristics with physical features of the environment that we must examine to understand how environments, including schools, affect behavior. A school is different from an office building. The school facilities not only have to be functional and economical, it has to give a sense of self-worth to the student. It has to show the community's commitment to education. Indeed, schools send an important message. We value our children. We want you to feel safe, comfortable, challenged, inspired, and proud. We believe in you and in your future. As a parent of an El Toro high school kid in marching band and lacrosse, we are just beginning to start the process with our son on selecting where he wants to go to college. We also have a choice on what high school our children can attend. I don't think my parents gave me a choice on what high school. It was the one that I could get to on my own. But it's a different world today. It's much more competitive, such as making sure that your kid is taking Algebra 1 in 8th grade so they get on the right math and science tracks in high school. There always seems to be a school that's always better. And why is that? They have the student population to support programs. Why? Because the school has facilities and programs to attract them. Losing student population is and does have a ripple effect. It makes it difficult to offer classes. It makes it difficult to have classes of adequate school size if you don't have enough to support 2 teachers. Right now, approximately 400 students, or 16% of the student body at El Toro, who lives within that district and is assigned El Toro, chooses to go to other schools in the district. I'm sure there's many reasons for this. Test scores, programs, facilities, and athletics. Right now, El Toro doesn't have comparable facilities to the other schools in the district, and people are making choices to attend other schools. We feel that the facility will give our children equal access to facilities, not just for athletics, but to the 1,300 students at El Toro that participate in events at that stadium and are getting good academic grades and achievements. Thank you.
Jeff Frum.
Thank you. My name's Jeff Frum. I live in Trabuco Canyon. My wife and I have 6 children. My 2 oldest sons recently graduated from El Toro and both played football. My daughter's a junior, and I have a son at Serrano and 2 adopted sons at Portola Hills. where my wife and I both lead the Olympic Day fundraiser, and over the past 10 years we've raised over $400,000 for the school. I'm a former president of the El Toro Football Boosters and have 8 years' experience coaching Pop Warner football. I am in support of the El Toro Bleacher and Lighting Project. I want to offer you a glimpse of game days for football at Trabuco Hills. Access to Trabuco is restricted during the school week and on game days until all school activities have concluded or when Trabuco employees are available to assist us, often requiring volunteers to scramble to set up before crowds arrive. Our snack bar needs to be set up and broken down each week, transporting hundreds of pounds of drinks, ice, food, and equipment, including tables, tents, and lighting. Storage during the week at Trabuco is limited and not secure. Our boys require a team room to dress out for the games and to huddle at halftime and after a game. The options for a team room at Trabuco were a unsecure girls' locker room or a grossly neglected portable. A minimum of 8 district school buses are required to transport the team, cheerleaders, and marching band each week just for our home games, which often requires early dismissal from school and the commitment of parent volunteers to leave work early to get our home games set up at an away stadium. I have had dozens of conversations with families whose sons I've coached in Pop Warner. When presented with a choice in our open school district, choose Trabuco, Mission, or Laguna because of their facilities. The dream of every young player is to play under the lights on Friday night on their campus. My youth football players have been exposed to Friday nights at Trabuco for El Toro home games, and it's pretty clear the temporary feeling you get at our home stadium. Home games at El Toro would increase traffic to Lake Forest restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, increasing tax revenue for our great city. I would think that investing redevelopment funds to upgrade El Toro would favorably impact operating budgets at the district, at El Toro, and with the families, as we would eliminate unnecessary bus rentals, fuel costs, reduce admissions from those buses and our cars, while positively impacting productivity for the hundreds of affected families of El Toro students. In conclusion, I'd like to emphasize that the future of our great city is our children. Our focus should be about investing in the next generation, and I applaud SVUSD for offering up this bleacher and lighting improvement project. It's a worthy investment in keeping our neighborhoods vibrant, and I strongly encourage you to support this project at El Toro. El Toro is the only public high school in South Orange County that does not have its own stadium, and this project would bring our Chargers into competitive balance for the years to come. Thank you.
We've had no further requests.
Is there anyone that did not put in a request that would like to speak? Come right up. You can put in the request and give it to our staff right here. After you speak, state your name, your city. Do not include your address. You have 3 minutes. When you speak, the green light will come on. When the yellow light come on, you need to wrap up. You have 1 minute, and the red light means please stop.
Okay. Hello, my name is Eric Garrettson. I'm a resident of Lake Forest. I am a little upset with the city, the fact that we, the people of the state of California, voted for medical marijuana laws. And it's my understanding that our city has spent over about $1 million fighting this. On July 3rd, the Court of Appeals said that you can no longer ban dispensaries just because they're dispensaries. And I'd like to know what is going to be the process to get dispensaries back in Lake Forest. You'd like you to start addressing this because it appears that you've already wasted $1 million. And it takes a lot more than 20 people to get, it only takes 20 people to get on the ballot for a city council member, but tens of thousands of people got the amendment on the ballot. And I would like to see us start opening up dispensaries so that people like myself can not have to travel great distances to get the medicines we need. So that's all I'm saying, but I think it was a big mistake closing down these dispensaries. There's a lot of things that medical marijuana does that pills just don't do. And it's very important for me, and I know there's a lot of other people that it's very important to. It was also a good source of revenue for the city. Thank you.
Any others? Thank you. I'm going to bring it back to the council. Agenda item number 3. City Clerk.
Agenda item 3, certification of warrant register, submitted by Director of Finance, City Treasurer.
This is once again the opportunity for the public to address the city council. If on the consent calendar, or we're on the warrant list, if there's anything that you want to pull from the warrant list, you need to state it. Otherwise, the consent calendar for the warrant register will be voted all in one sweep. Seeing none, council, I didn't get any little slips today. Oh, I need a motion. It's been moved and second. Is there any opposition? Motion carries. Moving down to the consent calendar, miscellaneous. Agenda item 4 through 14. Did anyone put any slips to speak? Okay.
No, Your Honor.
Pull anything? Counsel? Any opposition? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, discussion action items number 15. This is another opportunity for the citizens to be engaged. This time you can get some response from our staff or others. We don't have anyone new that's walked in, so all the principals still go. I'm going to come to you. Remember, you do not have to give your address, just state your name and the city. City Clerk?
Agenda item 15, selection process of mayor and mayor pro tem, submitted by the Deputy City Manager, Director of Management Services.
Staff?
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, this was actually placed on the agenda by the Council, and the staff has nothing further to offer at this juncture, and certainly it is Council's discretion to provide any direction it deems appropriate at this juncture.
Thank you. I'm going to give the public the opportunity to speak.
Larry Gilbert.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. I'm Larry Gilbert from Mission Viejo. You know, we went through a period in our city where we had 3 people rotating back and forth the majority of our city council with respect to mayor and mayor pro tem. And I've done some research on your city's history. When I start with Member Herzog, who was elected in '94, one of the things that stands out is he's been mayor back-to-back. That, to me, is not a rotation. He was mayor back-to-back in 98, 99, 04, 05, and again 10 and 11. Mayor pro tem 5 times. And I'm only talking the past 20 years, although 94 is already within that window. So, in effect, Member Herzog has served either mayor or mayor pro tem 11 times in 18 years. What does it say about rotation? We miss Richard Dixon, but his data is real. He was elected in the first group in 91. He was mayor 7 times, but again, there's a repetition that troubles me. He was mayor both in 2006 and 07. That is not rotation. He was mayor pro tem 5 times. So in 19 years of service, he wore one of those 2 hats 12 times. If I drop down to Member Teddemer, who's first elected in 04, again, the same pattern. Mayor back-to-back in 08 and 09, mayor pro tem in 2006, 7, and 11. So in 8 years, he wore both those hats 5 times. I then look at Member Rudolph. Elected the first time in 91, she did sit out for a period. Mayor and mayor pro tem only once each in that entire time span. Honorable Mayor, you were mayor in 2001. You were elected in 94. You were never mayor pro tem except for maybe one day. So when I look at this, this is not an equal distribution, if you will, of the position. I don't know what my recommendation would be for the rotation, other than, in fact, do a rotation. And I realize that this is a selection process of yourselves. You know, we're not a charter city where you elect the mayor, per se. But I think the history of your city has been a passing of the baton back and forth, and more important than that, to have somebody serve as mayor back-to-back with different people multiple times, I think, is inappropriate. Thank you for your time.
We've had no further requests.
Is there anyone that did not get a chance to put in a requests would like to speak? Seeing none, bringing it back to council. By the way, did the gentleman give you a request form? Yeah, just don't want him to leave before we get it. Okay. I'm going to let the maker of the motion speak first, as should be.
Okay. I have here some proposed verbiage. I can pass this on down. I think you need one more.
Pass this over. Pass it to the city clerk, please.
I'll give you a minute to peruse it. We are now a city that's 20 years old, and we've been operating pretty successfully up until now. But as the speaker brought to our attention, the inequity of the position of mayor and mayor pro tem over the years. My bringing this to attention is not necessarily meant as a criticism of those who have held the position multiple times. I think it is more a attention to be paid to those who did not have a chance to have a role of leadership. And also, we on the council are elected by the people of Lake Forest, and the people who have not served multiple times as mayor or mayor pro tem, or even more than possibly once, I kind of see that as a disenfranchisement of the people who voted for those folks. What I would like to propose is the language before you, and in a minute I'll read it so everybody can hear it, with the ability, hopefully, if we get this passed, that it will bring some predictability and stability to the issue of who is mayor and who is mayor pro tem. What I have proposed is the following, and this is in conjunction with agenda item number 15, as proposed by me. An elected and selected city council member selected by a majority of the council to be mayor or mayor pro tem may serve 1 year in that office. He or she may not serve again as mayor or mayor pro tem until a majority of the council has served as mayor or mayor pro tem for 1 year. No member shall serve as mayor or mayor pro tem without having first served as a council member for 1 year. What would happen here is it gives rotation a chance to happen. Someone would be selected as mayor pro tem to serve as 1 year. They could then step in to be mayor pro tem, or could be mayor for a year, but then they need to sit out of those two offices until a couple of other people have rotated through mayor pro tem and mayor, and then at that time they can again take the position. I think the strength of doing something such as this is that more people on the council who are elected by our residents and selected by our residents to serve will have a chance at the office of mayor and the mayor pro tem. And they don't have to. If you don't want it, you can always turn it down. But the bottom line is you'd have a chance to do it. And having done it once, It is a very special honor and a special job to be mayor or mayor pro tem. We are selected by our compadres up here, and it does take 3 votes to get selected as mayor or mayor pro tem. The purpose of having someone be mayor and then step out of that leadership role for a couple of years while a couple of other members of the council have the privilege of serving, I think gives strength and it gives credibility to the council as a whole. We are all equal when it comes to our votes up here on the council. If a motion is made and a second to that motion is given, it still takes 3 people to vote to have it go through. I have in my history on the council, which is now 19 years, made numerous motions, never got a second, or made motions where there was a second, but it failed when it came to getting a majority of the votes. That's the way the process works and should work. We all have, all of us up here have 1 vote. And it is our job to vote our conscience, what we see is best for the city, with that 1 vote. In aggregate is where that 1 vote becomes an additional ordinance, a direction to staff, or some of the other things that we do on the city council. I see this also as the ability for the council, with this as policy, to keep the mayor pro temship, keep those offices as fresh, new, and also it is a way to keep the ideas and the approach to leadership in the city fresh and new. At any rate, I make this these words as a beginning point. There may be those of us up here who may want to play wordship games with it, but the concept that I'm looking for, that I would like to see the city of Lake Forest do, is to have the office of mayor and mayor pro tem more flexible than it's been, and also free of rigid political gamesmanship. So at any rate, I would like to propose that we adopt these words as policy for the city involving mayor and mayor pro tem.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I'll second it for discussion. And I'd like to go right down the line. Councilmember Mark Tetterman.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Rudolph talks about doing what's best for the city, and that's what I do regardless of the matter, whether it's choosing mayor or choosing any item on the agenda. I will always consider what's best for the city. And one of the things that I've used as a litmus test as to my support or lack of support for any member has to do with where I believe they are in terms of bringing the community together. And there are some council members who have chosen to animate what I believe to be wedge issues. And I think that is not something I personally will support, somebody who wants to animate wedge issues and then talk about, and then I believe they have a hard time fulfilling their mission about bringing the community together if in the same breath they are turning around and advocating for things which I believe to be divisive. So that's what the decision's been for me about what animates what I believe is my vote for that role. The notion that it strengthens the council, I don't know if that's true or not, but the comment was made about the ideas. Ideas can be brought forward whether you're a council member, mayor pro tem, or mayor, and that's not limited by the position you take up here. And I'm reminded of the term, or I think it was a quote that I read once that talks about leadership is action, not position. And I personally am one that believe in that my ability to be a leader is going to be in the eyes of the beholders. I'll let others judge whether I'm a leader or not. But I don't need a title to be a leader. I can just go out and lead. And I don't need to hold a gavel. I don't even need to sit at this dais to be a leader. And I don't need any position to do that. Leadership is not position. Leadership is action. So that part to me about saying that we all need leadership positions, I don't. I'll let the community decide if I'm a leader or not. I'm here to serve the community, and I'll let others decide if I'm a leader. I'm not interested in this proposal, and for those who know this city council and its dynamics over the years, and what's gone on more recently, some would say that I was part of the majority. Some might now observe that I'm in the minority. And I will fight for the same policy regardless of which side of the fence I'm on or perceived to be on, because I still think the way we've done it serves well. And I will still use the same litmus test about what I believe people who want to sit in that position and hold the gavel and the responsibilities that come with that, going around to meet with people and talk to people, and I had the great honor of doing that for 2 years, is that we need to be in that position to bring the community together and find out what unites us and not what divides us. And when I see people that want to advocate for things that divide this community, that's not somebody I personally want to support for the mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to get a clarification. If I understand, Councilmember Rudolph, what you're saying is you want basically whether you're mayor or mayor pro tem and then not be able to serve in that position again for 2 years. Is that okay? Well, one suggestion I would have, since I'm not the maker of the motion in the second, is then you can make this real clear and just kind of clarify it by in the first paragraph after that word, you just have that office, then have comma, and then may not serve again in that position for 2 years. Then it's nice and then it's clear.
This is a first draft. It's open for.
I heard that's what you said. Wanted to make sure I was. Wanted to make sure I was just catching your point. So it's up to you, obviously, as the maker, and then the second, to amend the motion to basically make it 2 paragraphs. As is, and then that office comma, and then may not serve again in that position for 2 years. And then the second paragraph would be, as you know, members shall serve as mayor, mayor pro tem without having first served as a council member for 1 year. So then it's 2 paragraphs, and then it's just clear so nobody can be confused. So that would just be a suggestion again, because I didn't make the motion.
Are you offering that as an amendment to the motion, asking for an amendment to the motion?
Yeah, I'm offering that up as a potential amendment to the maker of the motion.
As the maker of the motion, I would accept that as a friendly amendment.
Second.
Okay. So now we have that straight out. And then just one commentary. You know, I've been very pleased to be able to work for the people of Lake Forest since 1994. And as is stated in my bio, everything I do looks to work as best I can to improve the quality of life of the people in Lake Forest. And that's what I've done. And I have no qualms about what I've done or the positions I've served in. And it's interesting to me that, you know, this has not been an issue that any member of the public has brought up, and the only person tonight comes from Mission Viejo. And Mission Viejo is not a city I would emulate in any way, shape, or form. And so it's kind of interesting. Kind of amusing, actually. But be that as it may. I will continue to work as I view it as being a public servant. Quite frankly, the only titles that should be adorned, if you will, are either Mr. or Madam. If we did away with Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and just called everybody Mr. and Madam, that would be fine with me. As George Washington indicated, when they tried to give him all kinds of glorified titles, he said, "Mr. will do." And it's been Mr. President ever since. Because what happens when people are running around getting titles is they start to believe it. And that's unfortunate. So the only title I look for is Mr. and Public Servant. And I will continue to act in that fashion and have always done that in my service to the community, regardless of what others, at least an individual, might have to say. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Sit. Hold your feet. Got to turn the mic on.
As this reads, an elected and seasoned city council member, what is meant by that? Is that 1 year? Is that?
Did you not tweak that? Season?
I didn't touch season. That was I just did the last.
Season. You have to ask Councilmember Rudolph.
With it. I got to do it. What is your question? What's your
In the
question?
second paragraph. Selected
Seasoned.
by a majority.
What is meant by seasoned, an elected and seasoned city council member? He asked what is meant by that.
It may be over verbiaged.
Yes, just a wee
But
bit.
if you were elected, and let's say, you don't get seated for a little bit, maybe 4 weeks before you have the actual time where you take the oath of office. That's all I'm saying. If you don't like elected would be sufficient. So feel free to play with the words. I have not a problem with that.
So
Peter,
Hold on,
please.
he still has the floor, then I'll come right back to you.
Well, would that mean 1 year in term? 2 years in term? What are we going to leave that in as an elected and seasoned? And after 1 year, or
The intention here, and maybe, again, anybody who wants to wordsmith this for me, please do. The suggestion that was made to me was that if there was a year, that someone would have to serve for a year on the city council before they could be elevated to mayor pro tem or mayor, simply because that would give them that 1 year to find out what the job is. If you walk in and never did it before and you've never been involved before, I think it would be more stabilizing for the city and the council if the person who's walking into that position had had at least a year of being a council member before going to mayor pro tem or mayor.
so clarification, if you look at paragraph 4, no member shall serve as mayor or mayor pro tem without first serving as a council member for 1 year. Is that what is meant
That's
by that?
exactly it.
Okay.
That's
So
the reason
that's
for that.
okay. That's clarified there.
For clarity for the city clerk, so in other words, are you stating delete an elected and seasoned city council member and insert number 4 in that spot that covers the description she just gave? Is that
You'd
what
have
you're
to
saying?
be sworn in, seated as a council member, and serve for a year. Then you're eligible or available for mayor pro tem or mayor.
Yeah, just make seasoned seated.
Take it out. I have a problem with that.
Okay.
My only other comment, Madam Mayor.
Go right ahead. You still have the floor.
My only other comment is we all serve at the pleasure of the people, and whether you be mayor pro tem or mayor or just council member, we all have one vote up here, and hopefully we're working together for the good of the people.
Is there anyone else? I just have a couple of things.
Well, the world has given us the offices of mayor and mayor pro tem, and this is what it is, and if you support it, fine. If you don't support it, fine. I still love y'all. Madam Mayor, I haven't heard from you.
Well, in proper training, as you say, a seasoned council person with much training over these years, the mayor generally is to speak last. So I give all of you the opportunity to go first. That's why you hadn't heard of me. Now, number one, this is my opinion. Number one, I believe that the citizens has already spoke when they put us in place. I don't believe that we have to get their opinion. They've already decided that we have something that has shown them that we are a leader. They've cut us out of the pack. I don't think any of us ran unopposed. I don't remember us having an election that no one ran at all. The last one, I think, came about the closest. It was only one person ran, but one time. But generally, someone always run and feel that they could do a better job, and they probably could, or they may not. But if the citizens say that we feel you can, it's, you know, one of the things that I've always done is I did a lot of volunteering as a servant for the county before we were ever a city. And even when I was not on council, I attended every meeting but one. The 3 years I wasn't on, that precise night I was in the hospital. And since I've been here on the council, I've attended every meeting but one. I was in the hospital that time. So the thing is it's what's within you. I don't feel that anybody has to prove if they are a leader or not. When you get here in this seat, and I don't mean mayor's seat, I mean here on this council, the demands that being a city council, mayor pro tem or mayor makes on you is going to make you or break you. So if you were shucking and jiving and got through the voting process and made it here, you're going to have to be brought up to speed, and that's where our staff come in place. And hopefully anyone that comes up here, we each do our part in helping them to hit the ground running. So one thing that for me, that I like the most in this is no member should serve as mayor or mayor pro tem without having first served as a city council for 1 year. Now that I do like, because there is a lot that you have to do. And that first year, when you first come aboard, I don't care how experienced you are, you have to be able to hit the ground running, and I don't care how much you think you know and how much you think you got it together. When you first come aboard, it is a lot to take in, and you need a good year. That's one of the reasons I concern myself with our assemblymen. They get up there, they got 1 year to try to get in the groove and learn everything, and the very next year they can't really implement anything because they got to run for re-election again, and that's a problem. Where I do like that portion. As far as anybody saying of what somebody may or may not do, that's everybody's opinion. I think everybody's got an opinion of each other. One of the first things I say to people when they tell me what they think about somebody as far as opinion is concerned, have you ever reached out and got to know that person? Because sometimes when you're looking at a distance, you don't have a clear vision of it. When I get close to you, you may look worse or you may look better. And you may be somebody I want to know. So if you haven't gotten close and got to know them, I don't want to hear your opinion. That's where I come from. That's why I don't read these blogs and all that stuff, because it's a lot of foolishness. People say things on paper and when they're intoxicated or high that they definitely would not say to your face and when they're sober. So I just insulate myself from stupidness. I get a rash when I get around stupidity, ignorance, and foul play. So my thing is, for whatever reason, I would like to see this a part of our policy, where that person, sometime the opportunity may arise, and maybe the people have good intentions, but I would like to see them sit out that first year. before they be mayor or mayor pro tem. It's a lot of demands made on them. They just came aboard. And if they're working, they got a job or got children, a real job, because this is all really, to me, it's all volunteer, and you want to give back to the community. And for me, my husband gave 24 years of our lives to this country, and he says when he retired, I'm going to give you 24 years to do whatever you want. I didn't really have this on my agenda, but it kind of happened. Bless you. And again, you want to try for a third? Go right ahead. That's something I do agree with 100%. The other, if someone calls for the vote, or if you want to hash it around some more, I'll entertain whatever the will of the council. I stated, if you want to call for the vote, or if you want to discuss or have any more input, I will entertain that.
Well, I had made a motion.
There is a motion on the floor, and there's a
Motion on the
second
floor.
on the floor.
There's still discussion.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. You want more
I'm
discussion?
seeing that the mayor pro
Okay,
tem.
I'm listening.
Point.
You have the floor.
Okay, in paragraph 3,
Paragraph 3.
he or she may not serve again as mayor or mayor pro tem until a majority of the council has served as mayor or mayor pro tem for 1 year.
Do you want me to?
Hold on.
Okay.
I'd just like clarification.
Councilmember Herzog, he amended it. Could you read the amended portion? Councilmember Herzog said he
Please.
has the amended portion. Could you please read that?
After the concurrence of the maker of the motion and the second of the motion now reads, an elected city council member selected by a majority of the council to be mayor or mayor pro tem may serve 1 year in that office and then may not serve again for 2 years. No member shall serve as mayor or mayor pro tem without having first served as a council member for 1 year, period. That's it.
That's the
So
motion.
that's how the motion reads now.
Oh,
Okay?
thank you, sir.
Sure.
Clarification.
Call the question.
Call.
Question has been called. Give me a roll call, please.
Councilmember Tedemer? No. Councilmember Herzog?
Yes.
Councilmember Rudolph?
She said yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Voids?
Clarification, wasn't not a friendly amendment to add, it cannot serve again for 2 years?
Yes.
The friendly amendment was accepted.
Not to your adequate liking?
Pardon me? No. Clarity? You need more clarity? No. Councilmember Herzog made a friendly amendment in 2 places.
I see it.
And the friendly amendment was accepted by the first and the second. Would you like a clarity on the 2-year portion? Would you explain the 2-year portion, please?
I can just read it again. An elected city council member selected by a majority of the council to be mayor or mayor pro tem may serve 1 year in that office and then may not serve again for 2 years, or may not serve again in that position for 2 years, period.
Okay.
And then there's the 1 year.
Okay. Could I give you a little answer? Go right ahead.
Yes.
Was that your vote?
Mayor McCullough?
Yes. Agenda item 16, Madam Clerk.
Agenda item 16, legislative and regulatory matters submitted by city manager.
Madam members of the City Council, the staff has provided you information about the state budget. We also provided information on the status of redevelopment, various bills, and a much longer attachment relative to AB 1484 that was passed and we're now dealing with. And so we've outlined the information as we know it today, and have provided you additional analysis that was done by Best and Krieger and otherwise. And so I would report that the city, as we identified in this report, is not obligated. The agency, successor agency, is not obligated to make additional payments. And so we are in compliance with AB 1484 at this juncture, and are working hard to abide by the additional new deadlines that are identified in AB 1484. And there will be a meeting of our oversight board to deal with those actions that they'll be responsible to act upon when the timing is there. So we've identified all those things for you, and we have nothing else to add at this juncture, but certainly be glad to answer any questions that the council may have.
On item number 16, do we have any requests from the public?
We've had no requests.
Is there anyone in the public that did not get the opportunity to put in a request that would like to speak? Seeing none, bring it back to the council. Councilman Peter, I know you have something to say. Let me go down the line right quick. Councilmember Rudolph? Councilmember Voigt? Okay. Hold on, because I know he's got a marathon. I just want to say, did we get the information on, I heard that there was some movement on 1484. I was on that webinar, and they were supposed to have some movement going on. I know I wasn't on the last one, but I know they were supposed to have something on that. Did we get any new movement on that? Nothing new?
It's the law of the state of California
at this
juncture, and there's no movement to amend it at this point that we know of.
I know that it's the law, but when we were on the webinar, there was still some lobbying and some trying to...
There's a strong desire by the league to either act legally, potentially, or to amend it, but there's nothing that's occurring at this juncture.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I was at the first webinar, but I wasn't at the second one, and I just want to know if we got any updates on it, because the liability that has been placed on the cities and not increasing our limit with the increase on staff time, which is dollars, staff time is money, that is something that many of the legislators are looking at, because that does need to be tweaked. In fact, the law need to go away. But I'm like this. The things I can't do anything about, I just try to work on soften it some, and it really needs a lot of softening. So I just wanted to get that. And now you have the floor. Go right ahead.
No. Actually, I was going to be quiet this evening.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah,
okay, moving right along.
We had enough. I'll just, say ditto from last time that it's time for a revolution in California because the state's broken.
It is pretty broken.
Just shorten it up from the last one. I can bring it back next time if you want.
No.
Oh, okay.
Say it all now. We're a little bit ahead of our time. You can get it all out now. Okay. Moving right along. We don't need a motion on that one. Agenda item number 17, that was just information.
Agenda item 17, request for appointment, League of California Cities, Association of California Cities, Orange County, and/or the Orange County City Selection Committee, submitted by City Clerk.
Is there any requests? Anyone choose to request that did not? Bringing it back to council. Council, anybody applying? Okay, nobody's applying. Going right along. City Manager's report.
I have nothing further this evening, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Ooh. Everybody wants to go home tonight. That's nice. Councilmember Herzog?
Thank you very much. Although the state's broken, Lake Forest is moving along well. And actually, this was a very good week for Lake Forest at OCTA. 2 actions were taken, one at the Transit Committee last Thursday, and then on Monday by the the Highways Committee. First, on the transit side, there was a call for projects for transit proposals, and there were the OCTA Transit Committee awarded 4, 3 of which are in Lake Forest. And this will be station vans will run from the Irvine train station to 3 separate employers. It'd be Oakley, Panasonic Avionics Corporation, and Investis. And I want to commend the staff because I know Jessica Gonzalez in particular, but our staff did reach out to the business community in Lake Forest. These 3 corporations stepped forward and indicated they were interested in providing a van service between the train station and their individual offices, so it'll be direct from the train station to those 3 corporations. And as I said, out of there were 4 things awarded, and Lake Forest got 3. Now, it was a competitive program, so that was good news. That now goes to the board next Monday. Additionally, then, at the Highways Committee, again on a competitive program, Lake Forest was awarded money for the paving of Lake Forest Drive between Rancho Parkway to Dimension, as well as on Rockfield Boulevard between Lake Forest and El Toro. And that will bring in both. This is competitive and actually went through the California Transportation Commission as well, because it involves the funding that's done through the Proposition 1B monies, and it's sort of euphemistically called the SLIP program, interestingly enough, interesting phraseology, which stands for State Local Partnership Program. And then additionally through Measure M, so that ended up an award to Lake Forest of $1 million, $1,034,587. And that'll also go to the board at OCTA next Monday. So good week for Lake Forest. And that's all, Madam Clerk. Well, I do have to say we had a very good July 4th. Fun parade. The weather cooperated greatly. Wasn't so hot. It was a lot of fun. Good to see everybody. Good turnout. Thanks to all the volunteers that put it on. Thank you.
Councilmember Rudolph?
Okay. I, too, participated, if you can say you participate in a webinar when you sit there and watch TV. But at any rate, it was a legislative wrap-up from the League, and there were some very interesting bills that got information on. And what I find good about that particular event that the League has is that you find out about these little legislative nuggets that you may not have noticed as you were scanning through, hundreds of bills. So I found it most interesting. I went to the Portola Center scoping meeting, which was very well attended here at City Hall. Many of the speakers, and I was not able to stay till the very end because I will be telling you about the competing meeting that I also went to, but I'm hearing repeated themes of what we've been hearing since Portola Center as a project sort of reared its head, 5 years ago? A long time ago. And the themes are very much the same, fix the school, have a realistic plan for what you're going to do with the roads so that we don't end up drowned in traffic. Those kinds of issues are definitely there. So I was pleased to hear that. Then I left that meeting early to get to the Rockfield Streetscape meeting, which had been sort of hoped would be scheduled before Rockfield was finished with its construction. Rockfield is done, and the project is done, and the community got together at the El Toro Water District meeting room, and there was some real interesting discussion. There's some problems that we may find out in retrospect that we needed to address, and from my perspective, what I would hope that staff would do is give this project a year to sort of settle in, and then go back and do a quick traffic study, circulation study, and see if everything got fixed or if there's some other odds and ends that need to be done to complete the project. But at any rate, the community was very glad to have had the meeting finally, and it has basically been a springboard for the regeneration of the El Toro Community Association. So we're apt to hear more from the El Toro Community Association as we go on. And I would suggest that maybe staff may want to add them and their communications site to the regular associations list that the city uses. I enjoyed the parade, and I think all of us enjoyed the fact that the weather cooperated. It was overcast. The weather was perfect for marching in a parade. The weather was perfect for sitting by the side of the road and watching a parade. It was great for riding in the parade. If there's something we can do to order it that way from now on, it would be lovely, because it really was a delightful day to have a celebration of our country's birthday. Also, I attended the steering committee of the Child Care and Development Planning Council, and the Planning Council itself will be having its meeting tomorrow, so I will be at that. I am also tomorrow night going to be attending the annual meeting of the California Joint Powers Insurance Authority, and I haven't read the agenda. That's what I get to do when I go home, and I'll let everybody know what went on there. And then Thursday is the next meeting of Vector Control, and it looks like there's some information that or some actions that Vector Control will be taking on Thursday afternoon. And again, I will let you know at the next meeting what that was. And I'd like to thank my colleagues for support. We'll see how it goes. It may end up that a year from now we're undoing it, but it's nice to make a little change now and again and see how it works. So thank you very much for your support.
Councilmember Tetterman? Mayor Pro Tem Voights?
Well, I too participated in the parade along with all of you in the city of Lake Forest, and I just got my hats off to the parade committee. Thank you so much. They did a wonderful job, from the theme to everything. That it went off perfectly. The weather cooperated, and we had a great parade here in Lake Forest. And I think this was our 20-year anniversary as a city, but 21st year as a parade here in South Orange County, and it's something that's looked forward to from many of the cities around us. We had quite a few people from outside the city there participating. It was a great job of showcasing Lake Forest. That was what we can be, hometown USA. Thank you to the parade committee, and nothing further tonight.
I have a whole bunch. I'm going to try and go as fast as I can. First of all, we had our finance director earned a certificate for excellent in financial reporting. You thought I had missed that, huh? I didn't. And so, thank you. Keep our records really good. I attended Senior Citizen Advisory Council, and also the Senior Citizen Housing and Transportation. There's a lot of things going on in both of those. If I have time, I'll give you a little update on that. And as you heard earlier, I attended the webinar. You may not get a chance to communicate as much as you desire on normal, like on phone conferences. I don't like those either. But we did get a chance to ask some things, and they got some information they'll be getting back to us on. The Rockfield Streetscape, I think the people got a chance to be heard, and many of them left satisfied. And so that was, to me, I marked it as successful. I haven't gotten any negative feedback from it. And I also attended the Portola Hills, and I was very sorry I had to leave early, but I'm quite sure we covered some things, people were voiced, and we will have another, because we're just at the beginning stage all over again. It's round 2 or 3, whatever. I attended the Mental Health Advisory Council, and that I do want to take some of my time and report out, but I want to go through my list, so anything I should have declared is declared. I attended Southern California Associate of Government, and as I had brought to us last year concerning the nuclear plant, they call it SONG, it has escalated, and I went up to SCAG and I asked, was anybody interested in knowing anything about it? And I told them the concerns that I had on our plant here, and it struck a fire where SCAG asked Edison and others. In fact, we had the president and the head director, the heads of, as well as the regional person there, and they got a chance to tell their side. And really what it is, we needed to stop the rumors and make sure that what we're hearing are facts. We've heard from the San Clemente Greens and other different environmental groups, but we had not heard from Edison. And we had heard that the plant was going to be turned back on this month. And after I spoke last month, on the first Thursday of last month, by the time I got back home that evening, after staying up there through the whole thing to inform each group, Edison had called, had contacted the newspaper, and it was in the newspaper on Friday morning. I didn't get back home until that evening. And by, I guess, about noontime, we had gotten an email to take and asking all the mayors within a 20-mile radius to come down to the plant the following Friday to participate, which I did not. I had to go up to Sacramento. I think I went up to Sacramento to the policy committees. And then from there, SCAG chose to, some of the policy committees was going to be shut down. They chose to have a joint meeting and have Edison as the highlight for them to have the opportunity, which I told them they owe me a thank you for putting them on the scope where they could get the opportunity to disband some of the rumors and get the truth out. And hopefully they still feel like that, because now the feds has picked it up, and there was some that was up there. You have to realize there's city managers, city supervisors, city mayors, and city councils from all over our region. SCAG is the largest region in the United States, with the 6 counties and a special district, and Edison has a seat there too. And it was voted unanimously with the exception of one lady. And we got a lot of facts, and that was good. And there will be more. I want to bounce back on this last little portion with mental health. Mental health is about the only one of the agencies here and now that does have money to jointly bill. They have two projects that they've put in, and one is down here in South County. Some of the projects, some people have asked about the project that's being built right here in Mission Viejo that butts up against Lake Forest. They're having some financial, they have 2 affordable housing. They're downsizing. They're going to have less units in there. Mental health is going to do some subsidizing for it to get some mental health money in there. Now, even though I have the red, I have to take a little mayor's privilege, because number one, I would like to thank my staff. I'd like to thank the committee. The staff always do a wonderful job. They give up their time, and they don't get paid extra for that and participate. The police, I always thank them along the route for being there, and I appreciate that services. And I attended the 5K. I hadn't attended the 5K since 2001, and blew the horn. I forgot to put my earplug in, so I'm still trying to hear out of that one ear, and blew it. And my fellow city council, Mark Tatterman, he did not tell you that him and his wife ran the race, and I know they've been running it for all the time, haven't they, ever since it started?
And my kids.
And the kids. And they came across the finish line way before the walkers, too. Way before. Although, I'm going to shame him right now. Brenda beat his time. She was in before him a good distance. Go women. And the kids, well, the kids, they automatically going to beat, but Brenda beat his time. Go, Brenda. And I stayed as long as I could, and I wanted to make sure that he made it in, but the kids beat him, and Brenda beat his time. And it was really a good run and a good walk. And then I went over to the parade, and I don't know about anybody else, but this was the proper thing to say. Our parade was a hometown parade, and I don't know who thought about having Louisiana a band. That really did. It's good to have music before we go, so because when the consuls come through, it's kind of blank, nothing there. That was good. A little bit before and some behind. That helped the people to tolerate us coming through and get the waves. But it was truly a hometown parade. And for any of you that did not attend, I'm sorry. We got it on tape, and I'm hoping that we all get a tape because I want to look at it over and over. The air in the parade was different than it was. Reminded me back when we first started. It was a good, warm, fuzzy feeling. And the people, you could see there was a good enjoyment, and all the volunteers, they really worked their tails off, and I know my staff really worked hard to put it on. It was excellent, and I want to thank everybody. And if there's nothing else, we're going to be adjourned a little early tonight. Meeting adjourned.